one thing that does impress me and continues to impress me is that the artists from the 80s and the 90s that are have always been elite still are elite because of this adaptability. So, as music fans, it sounds like we both are in agreement that the artists that are still able to do that sound as good, if not arguably better than they did back then. Why do you think there's then such a disconnect of fans? Because if somebody had X number of fans back in the day, now the music's free. Now the music's this. It's easier to get than ever. So why do you think that it's now X minus Y as far as whoever the artist is isn't able to reach the same volume of fans, or the same volume of fans aren't listening to them as much or not quote unquote supporting them? Why do you think that's the case?
I think we have different scanning and different ways to figure out who's listening. And then I don't know how accurate it is now, how accurate it was then. I think a lot of it is the assumption that they're not getting the same streams or what have you. But I think dedicated fans are still listening to them. When you got Common and Pete Rock doing an album, I mean, that's without question. Like you gotta check it out. Like, you know what I mean? And of course the album is dope, without question. But it's like when you hear that, I don't know if like you could compare that to Commons out, Resurrection, or if you can compare it to the main ingredient, because those are different times, different measurements, different ways we absorb music. Right now, um, it's right here. It's just so easy. Back in the day, you had to get a Walkman, or I need my CD joint, and as many times as I ran those back, there was no counting that. I just kept running it back because it was on my CD Walkman or my tape, the cassette player. And now, if you're listening to it, it's on Spotify, so they can count how many times, that kind of thing.
Well, I did a video about this, which I'm very intrigued about, and there's the link for it if people want to see it. It's called "What Was Hip Hop Supposed to Be?" Because I think back when I was meeting you in the early 1990s, had you said, "Oh, you're going to be at Ohio State University. I'm going to have written all these books. You're going to be an author. You're going to be making an album with Tyler Quilley, and you're going to be on late night TV with Jimmy Fallon performing, and you're going to be doing A, B, and C." I think that would be the dream. You're living the dream. I'm living the dream. Obviously, I'm sure we both like another zero or two on our bank account, but we're literally living a dream. So that being said, why do you think there's this pervasive sense of disappointment per se in the people our age community? Because if you look around, so many of the, Talib included, so many of the great artists that we grew up listening and admiring are still successful and able to make a career doing what we would have wanted them to do 30 years ago.
You said, why am I disappointed about it? Or
No, no. Why do you think there's the sense of disappointment from the fans or the overall genre industry of, man, this isn't what it? I'm like, no, this is actually what we wanted. We wanted Talib to be on a late night TV show. We wanted Common to still be putting out great material.
I mean, I think sometimes people go, like take it as like keeping it real, that kind of thing, or you're not doing a such and such. But I mean, if you're making good hip hop music, it'll stand out, and that's what we were aiming to do. The confidence of knowing is us creating the music that we loved from back in the day, like, and we just did it in 2024. And I think, I think it shows though. I hear what you're saying, but I think I've got a lot of young people saying, "Yo, I like this record," and it's probably because it feels nostalgic to them. You know, I mean, in this age of trap and all that, and how the music goes, what we did doesn't really feel stale because it's not the norm. What Pete
Right,
Rock and Common did is not the norm, even though for us, right, that's the norm.
right. That's the somewhat of the paradox of all this again. Like, well, what did people want? Like,
Yeah.
I would want to be able to see Big Daddy Kane perform still, and you can. He's performing all the time. Same with Rakim, whoever. And I thought that that's what this was all supposed to. What was our objective was to make this a life and a lifestyle, and it sustained itself. That being said, the confidence in knowing is obviously project that you have out now, but you have Bump the Floor, you got Role Reversal with Redmatic, you got Jazz Hop. So you've been putting out a lot of material in the last less than 2 years. So how and why have you had such a big output the last couple of years?
Because I don't stop. I keep creating. I like I told you, I enjoy it. I love doing it. So I just make music, man. Jazzy Jeff said to die empty, and that's what I plan to do.
And break down what that means to you.
It just means to let people hear your creative works. Let them see your creativity. Like there's no need to hide all that or keep it back because I need to tweak this. It doesn't sound. Yo, if it feels good, it is good.
Okay. And then with the Ohio State University and your other academic endeavors, what are you looking at, or if people are in the area and want to enroll in a class or something, uh, maybe in the spring or even next fall, like what are you teaching and working on that people should be checking for?
Thanks for asking that question, man. At The Ohio State University, my colleague Dr. View and I, we are actually working to create a hip hop studies curriculum, and we are creating a hip hop studies minor that we will are hoping to offer in the next few semesters. I'm writing classes as we speak. Getting that all the paperwork is a lot of red tape, but the goal is to have students be able to take courses in the School of Music with African American and African Studies department, and so that you can study hip hop, a two-track system, right, as a minor. And so you can say, well, I'm going to be a journalism major, like a certain somebody I'm talking to, right? Talking about journalism, but I want to learn more about hip hop because I think I'm interested in that. Just I love that. That's so interesting to me. So I learn about the origin and the culture and as a minor here at the Ohio State. So when I go with my journalism degree, I have a specialty, in hip hop. And so I understand the culture. If I go to interview somebody about graffiti and they're talking about such and such as a toy, I know what that is because I took the classes. I had that minor and I understand what that culture means. And so that, in a sense, um, makes my writing better. It's like I can write from that standpoint. The other way is say, I want to be a journalism major, but I also like to make beats for some reason. I've been making beats for years, but I want to do journalism. So I'm going to go to Ohio State and I'm going to do the practitioner track where I actually go and take beat classes and I learn how to make beats. And so I might be a journalist who, gets a placement. You know what I'm saying? Because I learned how to use Serato Studio. So, it's what it is. That's the goal.
There it is. Okay. Well, Jay Rawls, anything else you wanted to add before we wrap up, man?
That's it, man. Just want to say I appreciate you. Know you for a long time. Watched you become a star, write all these books. I'm like this guy right here. So it's been amazing, man. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you, and likewise, man. We're both doing it big. So sending you more of that. Yes.
Agreed.